Welcome at this time, Jerry Ferguson down to the front for our invocation.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, you who promised to never leave us or forsake us, we come to you with humble hearts, thanking you for your presence in all that we do and wherever we go. Thank you for protecting our first responders in challenging times and for giving them wisdom and courage in making decisions. Thank you for protecting our medical personnel in situations which demand their sharpest behavior and ability. Thank you for helping us to wisely move through lifestyle decisions we've never experienced before. Father, I pray for your continued leadership amidst our political leaders, nationally, statewide, and locally. As we become increasingly engaged in the various debates and discussions leading up to casting our ballots, may we have a sense of peace that you are guiding us. I thank you for our town council members and their desire to serve us to the best of their ability. Your word says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Thank you for the growth that is taking place in them during this process. I thank you for all the department heads and town employees who seek to make the town of Prescott Valley an enjoyable and productive place to live. Father, as residents of our community express themselves in ways which our legal system allows, may each of us be willing to allow others the same freedom we enjoy. And as we exercise our freedom of speech, may we all grow stronger. Your word says those who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. Each of us should please our neighbors for their good, to build them up. Your word also says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of the others. Our Father, may this be our attitude and prayer as we continue through our meeting tonight and beyond. I pray this in the name of our Redeemer. Amen.
Sir, please join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. And just before we call roll, for those of you that are at home and would like to call in for the call to the public, it's 928-759-3098. Again, 928-759-3098. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hunt.
Present.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Here.
Councilmember Packard.
Present.
Councilmember Grossman.
Still here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nye.
Glad to be here.
Mayor Polguda.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. And we'll just jump right into proclamations. And tonight's proclamation is Party on the Porch Month.
Whereas the town of Prescott Valley takes great pride in creating a place to live, work, and play, and does so by community involvement, acknowledging its citizens and fostering a town environment for neighbors to get to know each other. And whereas the art of knowing your neighbors encourages greater community involvement and will allow citizens to continue to rally behind each other through trying times, resulting in greater resiliency. And whereas knowing your neighbors not only is a great way to make new friends, but it is shown to reduce crime. And whereas by getting to know your neighbors, you will know if something is out of place or doesn't seem right, thereby helping to reduce criminal activity. Whereas the Party on the Porch Month encourages neighbors throughout July to host and enjoy events in your neighborhoods that help Town of Prescott Valley citizens get to know each other. And whereas the town invites and encourages you to express creativity in the month of July in getting to know your neighbors by hosting one or more events, including barbecues, police or town staff talks, or even honoring the graduates on your block. Now therefore I, Kel Plaguda, Mayor of the Town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, along with the members of the Town Council, do hereby proclaim July 2020 as Party on the Porch Month in Prescott Valley, Arizona, and urge all of our citizens to participate in knowing your neighbor by participating in a neighborhood event.
Thank you, ma'am. And I believe, Heidi, if you just would like to say a few words about this great event.
Well, we hope that during Party on the Porch, during July, it's going to go the whole month. And so we are inviting all of our community to get outside, have a party, do something, play games on the yard, turn on the hose and, run through the sprinklers, whatever you have to do to get out and learn to know your neighbors. And knowing your neighbors has not only been a good thing because neighbors just help each other, but it also helps to stop crime because you know when something in your neighborhood isn't right. And so we just want to let everybody know that on our website now we have a toolkit for Party on the Porch, or POP, during July. And we've got tons of ideas listed on there for a party or a gathering in your neighborhood. This is social distancing friendly, so you can handle that any way you like. And we hope you'll get out and check out that toolkit. You can have also any of our town department heads or police personnel and even fire personnel will be willing to come to your gathering if you call us ahead. And we'll get them there, and they can discuss with you anything you'd like to talk about as far as town business. And so we just invite everybody to be a part of this. Let's get outside. Let's get to know each other, and just enjoy yourselves during July. So visit the Town of Prescott Valley website at pvaz.net and check out that toolkit.
Nice. Latoya, you have anything to add? No.
I do.
I hope you enjoy the door hangers that are
Yes.
currently at your stations. They are going out this week, or some have gone out. So
Latoya is being incredibly modest. All of the banners that you'll see up and down the major corridors in town were designed by Latoya.
Nicely done, Latoya. Vice Mayor?
I'd love to make a couple of comments because I have the privilege of serving with these ladies on the committee. The fire departments who have stations right in the neighborhoods are participating. So watch for information about that because they're going to be opening their doors and having some fun things to do. And a fun thing I'd love for you to think about on your cul-de-sac or on your block or half of your block, arrange for a kiddie parade. They love getting on their bicycles and tricycles and wagons. And it's beautiful and healthy, and they'll get to maybe know some other children down at the end of the block.
Councilwoman?
Heidi, I love today, I think I read, celebrate a graduate in your neighborhood. That was a great idea. Thank you for adding that. I think that's real important. The one that we actually adopted from Bradshaw High ended up living right down the street from us, so that was quite fun.
I'll brag on Latoya. She's the one who has Larry said, Latoya has designed so many. She designed the grad banner that went on the side of the building, and she has designed all of our POP logos and everything that goes with this month. But she also adopted one of those Bradshaw seniors, and it was at an NAU. She's going to NAU and has gotten to know her family, and so it's a wonderful program.
It's fun.
Nice. Thank you, ladies. Great job. Oh, we'll shoot down here.
Did anybody get your door hanger today? I got mine on my door today. Yeah. So watch your door.
Behind it.
Mr. Mayor, if we could ask Heidi to describe the door hangers that are going out all over town and what they contain, because there are two messages there.
Yes.
We have volunteers and town employees who are going to be distributing door hangers throughout town. On one side, it asks you to remember to fill out your 2020 census. That's crucial to a great deal of the funding that comes into town for many of our services. And on the other side, Party on the Porch tells you where to find out the information to enjoy yourselves during the month of July. And so those will be either delivered on your door or on the gate. And we hope you'll take that and go fill that census out, because right now we're number 5 in the state for self-response for the census. So.
Nice job. We're going to move on to item 6, council comments. Councilwoman Hunt, you want to lead us off?
Sure. I want to give a shout out for Movies Under the Stars. Tomorrow it's Frozen 2, and I want to particularly thank our title sponsor, Arizona Hometown Radio Group, and a shout out to Sanford and his staff. And also thank 89A Dental Care, Chick-fil-A, and Signals. Tomorrow's Frozen 2. I just wish my little 2-year-old granddaughter Laura Lai was here, because she loves Elsa Anna. I think she thinks it's just one person instead of two separate princesses. But anyway. And then I also want to remind people, I got a call from a resident today about easements, and I want to remind people, particularly new residents, that there are certain easements in the core, mostly in the core and other areas, that if you're not supposed to build on them, you're supposed to leave them open, because the utility has the ability to come in and rip everything out. Not that they would, but there's a lot of fences on easements, there's a lot of landscaping on easements, so just beware. And then a shout out to the library on 7F. They got an $8,975 grant, and one of the things that's going to be funded is germ buster kits. I thought that was really interesting, and there's no match there. Also a shout out to John Munderloh, 7G, because he's applying for a $500,000 grant to help us with water quality. And then to the PD, because they're donating an old K9 fire truck that can't be used by us anymore to the Jerome PD. So that's a great partnership. Thank you.
Councilman?
Yeah, the other night we had a Humboldt Unified School District Governing Board meeting, and there were a lot of things discussed at that. Right now, one of the biggest discussions is how these schools are going to open in August and what precautions are going to be taken. I also want to remind everybody that Dan Streeta and Cole Young are leaving our community to be superintendents in other communities. So we have John Pothass coming in from Alaska to be our new superintendent, and Court Miner is going to be our new assistant superintendent in the school district, and they take office on July 1st. So that's big news, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And there are other promotions within the school district. We have some new principals, assistant principals, and others, service director, and a few other positions. So it's going to be an interesting month coming up.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
I want to talk about the 4th of July. And we do plan to have the fireworks. And I see on social media a lot of people are concerned that we shouldn't do it because we could start a fire. Tell them, Larry, why that's not going to happen.
We've had, I believe, 28 years of success of shooting fireworks from Mountain Valley Park and Mountain View Elementary School, with only one cancellation, and that was a couple of years ago, but we also had a fallback position with our 40th anniversary. But we have it inspected annually for fire danger with our local fire department. We staff it extremely well, and if anybody remembers when we had the Goodwin fire, which was just here to the south of us, that we shot off fireworks that year. In addition to that, in an abundance of caution, we had some of the firefighting hotshots that were working the Goodwin fire. They wanted to be entertained, and they came down and they were honored at the band event underneath the Ramada. But they also were there and available in the event there was any problem, which of course there was not, and so they sat back and enjoyed themselves. We have a very safe place to have fireworks.
Thank you. I just wanted to reassure those that might be newer to our community and they really didn't understand all the safety precautions that we put in place.
Ma'am. Councilwoman?
Today they opened it's been open for a couple of days, the right turn only off of 89A onto Glassford Hill, and I just want to remind everybody you don't need to stop before you enter right into that lane. It's just a right smooth turn on to Glassford Hill. So it is open, enjoy, and it's pretty amazing over there, so check it out. Thank you.
Yes, and to piggyback on that, kudos to Norm and his crew for working together with the local jurisdictions and making it happen. So pay attention to the Facebook page or the town website. You'll be able to see more pictures and see actually how it is actually increasing flow a lot better than it was before. So please check that out. And also for those that have been asking, and I'm sure Norm's been fielding a lot of questions, Sunset will be opened up, hopefully, knock on wood, by the end of the month. So look forward to that. And it's going to be truly a transformation to that corridor right there. So it's going to be great. And with that being said, we're going to be moving on to consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately for discussion and possible action. Council, is there anything we wish to remove or have discussed? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 8, Arizona Cares Fund Program Award. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. So tonight I have some good news for you. We actually were able to get funding through the Arizona CARES Act, and what that is it's a portion of the Federal CARES Act that the state received. So they got around $418 million that they were able to split among the jurisdictions that didn't qualify for a direct disbursement from the federal government. And with that, this award would allow us to have $5,340,227 that can go to help offset our public safety salaries and benefits. And that's just our regular salaries and benefits for those public safety officers. And it'll help us cover those expenses from March 1st of 2020 all the way through December 31st. We'll be able to spend that whole award, which will help free up those dollars for other items that council may have their eye on. And with that, are there any questions about this award or any of the...
I'd like to give credit to Governor Ducey and his team for recognizing the need for smaller communities throughout Arizona and making these funds available as quickly as he's been able to. So, Vice Mayor.
Those are based on population, those dollars.
Correct.
So there's another reason we need to do our census well. Everybody get out there and do the census.
Councilman.
I just want to thank staff and Larry for their work on this, because the letter from dated May 29th from the governor, second paragraph says, as you know, this program was designed based on specific feedback we received from you and your colleagues. We look forward to seeing the many innovative ways that you all will utilize these dollars on behalf of our shared citizens. And we know how creative you are, Katie.
Just hats off to Katie and her staff for quickly turning around after listening to the governor and also the League of Cities that ended up having some conversation about this, quickly turning around the information that was gleaned from that, putting in the application, and we were already accepted, and one of the very first ones in the state accepted with the application, when other communities were still fumbling around saying, what are the rules? We already were accepted. So thank you, Katie, for you and your staff's effort.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Can we get a
Got
motion?
a motion.
Get a motion, please.
Motion to authorize the mayor in his absence, the vice mayor, to sign the grant agreement and accept the Arizona CARES Grant Award by electronic vote.
I'll make a second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wadsworth, we're moving on to item 8B, Stone Ridge Water Tank Construction.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What you have in front of you is a final closeout change order for the Stone Ridge Water Tank project, which, as you know, has been pretty much complete since about February. There were some minor things still being worked on, but you guys toured the tank and saw it back then. And so this change order wraps up the contract and will be completely done. The amount of the change order is $41,757.50. The majority of this is for work related to rockfall protection at that site. And as you're aware, we had pretty steep rock sides, and we had rocks, falling off of there. So there was a rockfall protection system that was installed. During construction, we actually added more to that scope of work to make it a little bit better. We had a couple of rock falls during the construction. We had to get that rock removed out of there. And then towards the end of the project, we added some additional barriers closer to the tank, because when the rocks fall and they get behind the barrier, there was one row of barriers that gets behind there, but as soon as that fills up and it can't handle it all, more rock falls over the top and hits the tank, so we put a second row in there. So that's what most of this change order is related to, and I would answer any questions that you might have.
That makes sense, and for those that haven't been out there, it is like a sheer rock that you guys drilled into and put that water tank, so it's just natural that we're going to have this rock fall.
It's going to be ongoing, and also just for informational purposes, relative to the overall budget and contract value of this tank at $2 million and change, this change order represents about a 2% change on the total price.
Great. Thank you, sir. Oh, Vice Mayor.
I'm usually the council member who gets cranky about change orders. But this one I support, and I definitely applaud. And I know those neighbors down below are a lot safer and a lot happier with us. And I hope you're not getting any more telephone calls about it.
No, it's been a great project. Thank you.
Can we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. Motion to approve change order number 1 to the construction contract with Paul R. Peterson Construction Incorporated in the amount of $41,757.50 for the Stone Ridge Water Tank Project CIP number W425.A by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir, moving on. 8C, Little Pete Well Equipping Project.
Yes, sir. Another change order. This one is in the amount of $28,681 on an overall contract of $738,158. Again, this is a final closeout change order for that project, representing just under a 4% change in the entire cost. Most of the changes that are listed on this change order were things that we asked for. And I don't know if you recall back when we were first starting the project, but we hadn't anticipated initially that this well was going to be as good a well as it was. And so we had, our design engineer had designed it as a submersible pump style well, but when we found out how much water it was going to produce, we had to switch it to a line shaft well, which changes quite a few things. We did it on the fly, and so, yeah, we missed some things in the design that we later asked the contractor, hey, change this, move this, do this. And so there were some additional costs that weren't included in the original bid, and it amounts to this $28,000 change order.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion. Motion to approve change order number 1 to the construction contract with Paul R. Peterson Construction Incorporated in the amount of $28,681 for the Little Pete Well Equipping Project CIP number W442.A by electronic vote.
I'll make a second.
Clerk, please call the vote. You okay, Shelley? No.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 8D, Town Engineer Agreement with Dava and Associates. Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This next item may look a little familiar if you've been around for a long, long time. because this is a long-term agreement we've had for engineering service with Dave & Associates that actually dates back to 1988, which is about 32 years. So we've been fortunate to have Dave & Associates provide us guidance in their particular scope of services, if you pull up that. But Dave has been around & Associates.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, if she's done, I will. So, hitting it midstream here. So, yes, Dave & Associates have been around for 32 years, and absolute excellence in, as you see up there, their logo. Pretty basic in black and white, but it says it all there. Planning, engineering, and surveying. They have the senior expertise that we really rely upon as staff, not only in public works, but utilities, and also the community development department. They do quite a bit of work with our plats, surveying. We look for them for all, keep in mind, a lot of the private service that goes on with not only other private engineers, but also surveying and the like. Dave & Associates has that oversight with their senior staff. They are truly the best in the business around here, and they give us that senior leadership and review to where everything is just spot on. So they've been around for a great deal of time. The efficiencies we realize with Dave & Associates, I know I couldn't do without them, so it's wonderful to have them. Their contract is to be renewed, or proposed to be renewed for another 2 years. We have a 2-year contract with them. And as I say, they're an extension of town staff, not only in the public works and utilities, but also the community development department and the planning. You know, we never take a step back in Prescott Valley with our rapid growth. I think we can see we can't ever build everything we'd like right now and can afford it, but we always have that common plan. We never take a step back. So we've had that guidance since 1988, and we sure would like as staff to see that continued. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council? That's it. It speaks for itself. You've been around since 1988. I think I was in 4th grade back then. So to know that you guys have been doing this for a long time.
Gordon and company have they've been a familiar face for that complete amount of time. So we've really gotten used to them.
No, absolutely. So it's just another example of the town just kind of keeping things lean. You guys do a great job, sir. Thank you. If there's no other comments or questions, get a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve renewal of the town engineer agreement with Dave & Associates by electronic vote.
I'll make a second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, before we move on.
Yes, sir.
If I could, I'm not quite done yet with that item, if I could.
No? Go for it.
Gordon, come on up. Even for all these many years, you don't get to see Gordon. He waves from the back, and you don't hear much from him because he does a very good job on the designs, even the construction management. What we want to do as staff, we talked in the engineering meeting this week. We said, Gordon and his crew, Tom Callahan, Bob Pfister, you see him every once in a while, and even some of the long-term people, David Hoffman. We've kind of gotten used to them, just always doing excellent work. I don't think we absolutely have thanked them enough or appreciate them to that certain degree. It's just one of those things you get used to. But I know I couldn't do things without Gordon. And what we wanted to do was we have a mock-up of a plaque we'd like to give them from staff, inclusive of all the departments, public works, utilities, and community development, just to thank them for their 32 years of excellence in planning, engineering, and surveying. And I think this is most appropriate because we do save a significant amount of dollars with their experience and expertise, and to the point, just excellent service throughout, and quality infrastructure being built, and quality planning, and all of our growth issues we have here in Prescott Valley. So, Gordon, this is the time I think we'd like to ask you to say a few words, and, well, the plaque is on its way.
It's in the mail.
Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. And Norm, nice, kind words. Larry, I had a feeling you were going to make something out of this. I don't mind the foam board. It's really nice. I think it'll look good. It's nice, and it's what we use at the office a lot. Just want to say quickly, appreciate being associated with the town of Prescott Valley. We have enjoyed every minute, and to be working with you all and the staff, especially the staff. The staff is just so excellent for us and with us, and we have a great working relationship, and we really, really appreciate continuing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. We good, Norm, for 80? Do you have anything else you want to pull out?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Annual Public Works contract for fuel, mowing, street striping, landscaping, and weed control, janitorial services, and street sweeping.
If Shelley can get to overhead that. So, Mayor, Council, this next one is our annual contracts for services that we outsource out, and these are typically 5-year contracts that get renewed annually. We talked quite a bit and went into quite a bit of detail at work study last week about the details. As you can see here, the important things to note is that of these service contracts you see, the 6 listed there, is that each one of these, they've agreed to no increase this year due to the environment we're in, but we do have renewals with each one of these long-term contractors. So I'd be happy to answer any further questions. And now, Ivan, usually every year, do we need to take them individually, Ivan, per the motion? No. So
Good answer, Ivan.
Read the motion. So, can answer any question, we went into quite a few detail of these 5 individual contracts. I do see the striping and pavement markings, we're going to go to rebid, and we'll, in the coming months, send that out for bid and get a new contract on board for that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve annual public works contracts for fuel, mowing, street sweeping, landscaping, and weed control, janitorial services, and street sweeping operations, and annual contracts, public works, materials and services, operations manager by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote. And just for those that are
Passes
home or
unanimously.
I'm sorry, Clerk, go ahead.
That passes unanimously.
Thank you, ma'am. For those that are at home, Council did discuss this, and we went into great depth last week during the work study. So if anyone wishes to review that, but the most important thing is what you covered at that 1 through 6, no increase. So moving on, item 8F.
Yes, Mayor. These particular annual contracts are commodities that we bid yearly, so different from the last group of services and or material contracts. Those have a 5-year contract, typically renewal yearly. These are annually bid to get in line with what the current market is. So as you can see, all of the particular listed other roadway materials, that's our patch material for roadways. As you can see, paving, patching, and concrete. Each one of these particular services we bid out yearly, and actually we see the same contractors out other than the solid waste disposal. Patriot Disposal was the winner this year in the bidding. So good competition amongst the local contractors, and they do a very good job for us. And as I mentioned last week in work study, these contractors really don't have much administration. They know what they do. They send us invoices. We spend time on the service, not administration. So we appreciate our working relationships. Operations staff does a good job with them, and they know what to do, and we get good service. And using the private sector with their expertise to end the competition. With that, we have to answer any questions.
One of the key things, Norm, I think, is local. Those are the folks that live in our community, are getting paid, keeping their money local, and doing a great job while they're at it. So that's important.
And when you get the long-term contracts, your relationships go back many years. That's where some of the fun is. We've been working with these contractors many years, and they appreciate the work and do a great job for us. Good quality work.
Absolutely. So. Council, if there's no other questions or comments?
I'd like to make a motion to approve annual contracts, public works, materials, and services by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Last item, 8G, Annual Preventive Maintenance Chip Seal Program.
This particular item come to you this time every year. This is our annual chip seal maintenance. As I think council's aware, we have the not only HER fund, but also the half-cent maintenance fund that we use to maintain our streets. So we do a chip seal every year. I think council's aware that this is the final application once we tune up the streets with some heavy maintenance and or crack sealing. This is the final coating called the chip seal. It's done during the summer months. That's when the work's best done. So we like to award it this time every year. This year has been very different. I think we're all aware. We went on our typical cadence. We sent it out around the 1st of May, or actually 1st of April. That was kind of the start of not knowing where we were going. And we closed the bids May 4th. We typically try to move forward pretty quick to get the contractor awarded. Well, we had to hold it. I was in contact with the contractor and say, we're in different times. We don't know about our revenues. We want to make sure if we award the contract that we actually can pay you. So they were happy to at least get straight up. They know the environment. So every week I would go to my meeting with the manager saying I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask, can we award it? And he says, of course, I wouldn't be doing my job, but I said no until we find out. So we have found out we have enough funding that we can move forward with the chip seal. So the good news is a lot of the pre-chip maintenance we've done, as you see, this exhibit has been put out, been adjusted a little bit, reduced. As we've talked plenty with Public Works, a lot of our services, we're being cautious, but we are continuing service. We're just reducing some of that service level. So we're still in business and just have readjusted some of our ultimate goals. But you're seeing up here is basically $763,000 of chip seal. You can see the full section there on each side of Robert Road, and then some of our recently completed capital projects, we're putting a final service there. The other one that's important to note, too, is Valley Road. That is an industrial area, and that's quite a long road. That's about 2.5 miles long, but actually we're doing a Valley Road from Navajo down to the treatment plant. You see the red flag there? We actually have a pavement rehab project currently out for bid that we're going to actually redo the base and then put a double chip seal. I'd like to point that out. So as a result of not only the chip seal being performed after July 1st, if council moves towards the award, we're actually going to bid other project with a little different methodology, but that will end up with a chip seal. What we're confident with is by September 1st, you're going to see Valley Road with a very much improved service level down there, and it's nice to have the money to do that. So that's basically that project is out for bid. I'll come to council in the next month and recommend the contractor bids for award, and that will go from the treatment plant to the cattle guard by Sarah Jane. So part of our summer maintenance, we do it every year, and we've shown in the past we hit the areas that have been done last. So what you're seeing up there is this year's program, good contractor bids. We had 5 bids. Even in this environment, the contractors, with some of the slowdowns, they're appreciative to have the work. So what's nice is we are stimulating the economy. We're being careful with our expenditure, but when we have the money in the pot, so to speak, we're moving forward with maintenance as we do to maintain that service level and our goals for continued good street maintenance. So VSS International is the low bid contract for $763,459. As I mentioned, good contractor competition. And I need to back up one. And I always like to show the picture for people at home. This is what a chip seal operation looks like. It's the final surface. So you're seeing some of the oil sprayed there with the aggregate placed, and then of course we get a black sealer on the rock, and we get a much improved service level of the pavement out there. So with council's recommendation, this will be next year's money, but what we do is there's quite a bit of prep work, obviously, with getting the oil on order and in place, in addition to a lot of the aggregate crush. That's why we like to do these early, and then we anticipate this project starting after July 1st with next year's budget money.
Thank you, Norm. Questions or comments, Vice Mayor?
I'm so relieved that we get to go forward because we worked so hard catching up, and your department, got caught up in all the downturn of the economy and wasn't able to maintain our streets to the level that we desire. So I'm so relieved that we get to move forward, and thank you for never giving up on it.
Well, and to that comment, I think we've all tightened our belts, every department. Public Works is no different, even street maintenance. As you see, typically the exhibit in the corner identifies $2 million a year. You can see we've actually scaled that back to about $1.2 million, so that's about 40%. So we're being cautious, but still, not out of the game. So it's important to note that yes, we have to re-identify that horizon date that we want to get there, but we're still moving forward.
I mentioned it a couple months ago that the sun will eventually come through the clouds, and
Absolutely.
hopefully we'll see that, and that will add back what we took away. So thank you, Norm. With that being said, can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion. Motion to award a construction contract for the fiscal year 2020-21 for the annual chip seal program to VSS International Inc. in a bid amount of up to $763,459.28 by electronic vote.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Thank you, Norm. Moving on, item 9, this is comments from the public. For those that are at home, here's your chance. 928-759-3098. Again, 928-759-3098. Consideration and discussion of general unscheduled comments from the public. Those wishing to address the council need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. At the conclusion of the unscheduled comments, individual members of the council may respond to the item addressed at the discretion of the mayor, or they may ask that the town manager review the matter or ask that the matter be placed on a future agenda. Is there anyone present in the audience that would like to come up? Sir?
Thank you. Bill Feierabend. I need to make it clear this isn't a personal opinion, and my management might or might not agree. But I want to compliment the town on the movie Under the Stars. I thought that was really great, and kind of to understand it, let me explain where I'm coming from. I lived in Winnemucca, Nevada for 5 years. If you've ever spent a winter in northern Nevada in a small town, you know what an economy with a chill on it looks like. I mean, it's just dead. I mean, you hibernate. It's just, it's really not fun living there. But I was in the Lions Club, and our main moneymaker at that was the crab feed. We'd put on a big crab and steak feed every February, right in the depth of winter. And put on this great event. Hundreds of people would get dressed up, the guys all dressed up in their suits and the wives all dolled up, come down. We had hundreds of pounds of crab brought from Alaska to Winnemucca. Great band. Some of the guys had really good contacts where they could get tickets to like the Final Four, college basketball that auctioned off. It was a great money maker for the Lions Club, but it was also great for the town, in the depth of winter. When it's just absolutely dead, you have this event that everybody gets dressed up and comes out for. And that's kind of the thought I had when we drove by that movie Under the Stars. Maybe there was 100 people there. I didn't really count, but thousands of people drove by to see it. And here in the depth of the epidemic, we're showing people how you can live, have events, and do it with social distancing, do it safely. And I thought that was really great. And I don't know who to compliment, and you guys are a captive audience for 5 minutes, so you get it. But I'd also like whoever's responsible for it, if you could kind of develop the idea, like if I think about it, I might think maybe high school band concert. If we had like a community theater, have a play out there, but do it right there where everybody on Glassford Hill can see that during this pandemic, we're getting out, enjoying life, and doing it with social distancing and reasonable safety. That's really the only comment I had to make, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Shelley, do we have anyone on the phone? I didn't hear it ring. No one on the phone, no one online. Anyone else wish to make a comment in the audience? No? With that being said, moving on to item 10. We get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
Councilmember Packard,
Yes.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Yes.
That passes unanimously.
Thanks, ma'am. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.